The weather report promised sunshine, but Valencia, Spain greets us with thunder and heavy rain. Water splashes on the sidewalks. Older women in sturdy shoes shake out their umbrellas, taking refuge in cafes. The forecasters never get it right on the Mediterranean side because they don't consider the effects of the sea temperature, explains Milan, the Spanish meteorologist and atmospheric physicist I have come to visit. Milan identifies the weather system as a levanter, the Spanish coast's equivalent of a nor'easter, in which cold continental air encounters warm water, and the result prompts intense precipitation. This typically plays itself out once the Mediterranean cools off, he says. He notes that as the sea has warmed some 2 degrees Celsius in the last 30 years, the region has experienced longer-lasting storms later into the season. They used to end in October. Now they go all the way until June. I reluctantly pocket my sunglasses and zip my rain jacket up to my chin. Milan, who until retirement led the Center for Environmental Studies of the Mediterranean, CEAM, is a longtime student of water-climate dynamics. On this edge of Spain that he knows so well, he can observe the movement of clouds and shifts of wind and estimate the arrival of rain within the hour. Over the past several decades, he has documented the loss of the daily summer storms that once brought cool nights, cleansed the air, filled the aquifers, and were not so heavy as to spark flooding. He attributes their disappearance to development along the coast, specifically the loss of vegetation and soil, which has altered the hydrological cycle. Milan speaks to the nuances of air and moisture flow with terms of the trade such as advection, anticyclone, and inversion. To a layperson, it's like this. Urbanization, the draining of marshes, and the loss of forest cover has diminished water recycling in the western Mediterranean basin. As a result, the accumulated moisture piles up in layers over the sea or moves inland, causing torrential rains and mudslides elsewhere on the continent, such as those that have been hammering Central Europe, or out-of-season storms, like the one we are now contending with in usually sunny Valencia, squishing in our boots. Milan's research highlights a crucial insight that is yet to hit prime time. Our use of the land influences climate, and the vehicle for this is water. Climate change has 2 legs, one on the ground and one in the air, he says. Land use changes alter the hydrological system, and this has immediate impacts on climate. He calls the current focus on greenhouse gases convenient, Al Gore's iconic phrase notwithstanding. You can track CO2 a lot and do nothing about it. What he means is that CO2 is abstract, and meaningful change depends on large entities like governments and industry. Land use, on the other hand, is linked to where we live, what we eat, and how we move, the stuff of daily life. Understanding our individual and collective impact on the land prompts us to take responsibility on a deeper level and to make deeper changes. And yet herein lies opportunity. Restoring the ecology in pivotal locations can reinstate water circulation and revive long-standing weather patterns. According to Milan, strategically revegetating a small expanse of land can make a significant difference in the surrounding region. Since the first edition of Water in Plain Sight was published in 2016, we've seen a surfeit of droughts, heat waves, hurricanes, and wildfires in North America and across the globe. Phrases like unprecedented and record-breaking hardly cut it anymore. A significant number of people suffer from trauma related to natural disasters, and many more from a diffuse climate grief. In this moment of ecological and climate reckoning, it's time to get real about water. It's time to get real about recognizing that the disruptions and anomalies often attributed to atmospheric CO2 are also manifestations of distorted water cycles. It's time to get real about appreciating that water is at once a force that drives ecological processes and a product of them. It's time to get real about the fact that water is a verb as well as a noun, and that understanding how water works, how it moves across the landscape and through the atmosphere, will help us address many of our global challenges.